think outside the box, if you will. I mean, go there, go off campus. Let's think this through. And sure enough, that's where the Mustang was born. When it finally hit, it took the country by storm.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Cars in Context. I'm your host, John Clor. You know, this is the Motor City, and this is the show where we put cars into the context of your everyday life. We love to celebrate our automotive heritage here in the Grosse Pointes, but we will make no apologies for our decidedly Detroit perspective. And today we've really got a great show. We're going to give you an inside look at what the automakers are thinking of, how they can make better profit and make a better car in the long run. We're going to be talking about the one platform, many cars idea that a lot of automakers are using these days. And to do that with us, we have none other than Chris Sawyer of the virtualdriver.com. Chris, thanks for coming back.
Well, you pay me enough.
Well, I said after the last show you would never come back. But see,
well, you know, I have a short-term memory problem.
we proved them wrong. You know, this whole topic is really becoming a big thing because
This is the future.
this is the future, and we want to give our viewers a sneak peek on how these automakers can stay competitive. And this is a great idea. I can't wait till we get into it. But before we do that, Chris, you know what we got to do? We got to find
The
out
news.
Yeah, we got to find out what's
Yeah.
happening. Yeah. Okay. The first thing, I'm going to take this first one because one of the things.
It's your show. Do whatever you
Oh,
want.
thank you. Finally, he admits that it's my show. No, I'm just kidding you.
Okay.
We love you coming back. No, this one's about Volkswagen.
Do you want me to leave?
No.
Do you want to by yourself?
No, please stay. Yeah. Volkswagen's always been trying to build the cars for the masses, you know, the Beetle.
Volkswagen, the people's car, German.
There you go. The people's car. They want to build cars for the masses, and it's part of their heritage. And they already make a car right now, a low-cost kind of.
Oh, yeah.
and
Cool little thing called the Up.
It's called the Up.
Yeah.
We have a picture. It's the Up. This is a picture of Volkswagen's low-cost little car. This thing's about what, $15,000, $16,000. It's not that.
Not even that.
It's not
a
that
little cheaper than
expensive.
yeah.
So this is the Volkswagen's entry into like, well, some markets really need small, inexpensive cars. But guess what, folks? We've got some news. Volkswagen's now reportedly going to develop an even cheaper car for these emerging markets that
I
don't.
got an idea.
What?
It should be a flat four, air-cooled in the back called the Beetle.
Okay, there you go, Chris. Hey, maybe they can make it in Mexico.
Yeah.
They quit
Oh,
making it
yeah.
now. No. So now they're going to build this new vehicle, they figure in China,
Really?
and price it below that up. They're going to price it around, you know, $8,000, maybe as high as 11. But that's cheap for this car. And the studies show that there's a huge market for these $6,000 to $8,000 to $9,000 cars in all these emerging markets. But here's one problem. It's never going to come here because to get that cost down,
It's never going to pass the crash standard.
that's right. They don't have to put things like airbags in it, worry about crashing.
Well,
it.
they do,
but
it's not quite to the level we have.
They
no.
don't. The engineering is not needed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So
It'll be a safe car, but it'll be about 20 years ago safe.
okay. Well, that's, you know, is that such a bad thing?
No, not terribly. If you don't run into things.
You know,
you're
half
fine.
the people in the United States are driving around in 12-year-old cars. So
Well, then, hey, perfect
there
market
you
for
go.
them. There you go.
But that's the idea for these emerging markets. They like these small, inexpensive cars. Before government intervention caused cars to go up, and remember we used to be able to get a subcompact for $3,000-4,000. Yeah, and with all the laws now and standards and
It's ridiculous.
in electronics, and you can't. Yeah, it's tough. Give us something that's more uplifting.
Okay, now here's one all about horsepower.
Oh, I like horsepower.
Now, everybody loves superchargers.
Oh yeah.
But not the power it takes to run one.
Well,
Because it's parasitic loss.
yeah, okay.
So French supplier Valeo says that, well, it's hinting it has a contract with Peugeot to introduce its electric supercharger on a front-wheel drive car by 2016.
Oh, electric supercharger.
Electric supercharger.
Crankshaft. No belt?
No, it's got a little electric motor. It goes zzz.
Wow.
The 48-volt system provides an instant boost in less than 300 milliseconds
Wow.
and allows for packaging flexibility since it doesn't have to be driven off a belt.
Yeah.
It can also be used on diesel engines. Valeo says the electric supercharger is a way to reduce CO2 emissions when combined with engine downsizing. But don't discount performance cars
No.
because Honda's using electric supercharger on its next Acura NSX prototype. And because some people say supercharger and they actually mean turbocharger because turbocharger is exhaust gas driven.
Right.
But there are electric turbochargers out there as well.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So I didn't think that was feasible.
No, it is because you don't need quite the package size of it. If it's already on a turbocharged car, you use the electric turbo to get that initial boost,
Okay.
and then it
And then it
shuts
takes-
off when
okay,
the
well, that makes
turns
sense.
on. Yeah.
You know, didn't we just see the NSX testing somewhere and it burned up? I thought.
Yeah, the same thing happened to Audi when they were doing the R8, so it's actually a good sign for
Okay.
for them. I
Well,
guess.
good for you.
Good.
All right. Well, let's talk about while we're talking about craziness. The Indian auto labor market is bad.
Mhm.
There's been an uprising in India, and they don't like the way things are going in the factories over there. So you talk about these little small cars that they're cranking out in India. Guess this: if you think labor relations are bad in the United States, you should be in India right now because
No thanks.
yeah, that's right. Because the auto factories, they've had a lot of problems in the last year. In fact, the Indian arm of Toyota that does, I think they have a couple of factories, reportedly they'd absolutely shut down its 2 factories over there because they got into a labor dispute over wages, and the workers were saying, we're not getting paid enough, and so they said, oh yeah, well guess what? They change the locks in the morning. You can't come to work. If you don't like it, you got no job. How's that? And so the plant employees were getting so angry, they deliberately stopped production line, and then they started threatening and abusing their supervisors. So they said it's unsafe for the supervisors to go in the plant, so they shut it down. I mean, that's how crazy. Now, rifts between management and workers over wages and unsafe working conditions in India is really nothing new. Almost every automaker in the last year or 2 has reported some kind of labor problem. Chris, what's going on?
I have no
I mean,
idea.
is it because it's such a new industry there that they have to go through? Safety is important. Wage, if people are working in sweatshops,
I'll guarantee you that they don't. You walk into a factory there, and while it's good and it's not fully up to our standard because it's not being run to our standards by our management. It's being run by indigenous management, and so they're hurry, get it done, do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that does become a problem.
Well, you think those 12-year-old kids
wow.
working on those factories wouldn't complain so much?
Well, maybe they're hearing them say "hurry," think it's curry, and they take it as a racist
Oh,
remark. I don't know.
you're just okay. Why not you, Chris?
Okay, Volvo.
Oh yeah.
As we reported previously, has set a goal by 2020 that no one should be killed or seriously injured in any of its vehicles.
Yeah, we had a news story about that. Yeah.
To that end, Volvo is now developing what is called it calls the scalable product architecture.
See, that's easy for you to say.
Really easy for me to say. It's a combination of a new safety frame and crash avoidance systems. The safety frame is a mix of different steel grades and doesn't add mass or weight, but it does increase the strength.
Okay.
And it also features a unique electrical system that makes it not only easy to add features, but to do it quickly. And the system includes new radar technologies, adaptive cruise control with steer assist, and car-to-car communications.
Okay, so that's
and this will first be seen on the new XC90,
Well,
which is coming out
well,
pretty
we're
quickly.
going to talk about this. That's
That's
like
exactly what we're going to talk
this
about.
is okay. So this is another car maker. We're going to mention this later in our topic, but Chris, that's probably a smart thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cuts their costs tremendously.
And Volvo's always been about remember safe.
They're boxy, but they're safe.
Yeah, that's part of their mantra, right? Even if they're going to be owned by a Chinese company, that's okay. Okay, speaking of cool things, that's kind of cool. I like that. I like technology. And speaking of ideas, Ram.
I have none.
No, not this. You don't have to, because the
Good.
Ram has just asked for a patent on a new kind of tailgate for their pickup trucks. Now imagine this. Now we know the tailgate that you can remove from your truck, or it's hinged at the bottom. You unlatch it and it goes down and makes extra length. Ram has come up with a patent to make a tailgate that works 2 ways. Like you could open it like Dutch doors, close it, and then put one half down and the other half up, or both down.
So it'd be a half kegger or a full kegger tailgate party.
I knew this was going to go south really fast as soon as I brought this up. But no, it could be whatever you put in the tailgate. But this application that they put into the patent office is kind of creating a buzz. People are saying, if this catches on, it's like putting a fourth door on the minivan on the other side. This could be a pattern for everybody. They're patenting this thing.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody's going to want it, kind of like the fold and stow seats they have in their minivan, which you couldn't copy. And this is they're trying to lead innovation, which is, I think, cool.
That's great. I like it.
But you know what else is cool, Chris?
What?
Car trivia.
Okay.
Okay. So
I'll take your word
now
for
it's time. It's time to play our weekly trivia game, or in car trivia time is where we come up with some obscure little automotive fact, and then we lay it out there and let you think about it and stew about it for a minute. We come back and we give you the answer. I mean, because we're not mean or anything. We're just
because we don't have that much time on our hands.
yeah, we So we want you to be engaged. So try to put, and some people are saying, you know, these things are just, who would know this stuff? Well, if you're too young to know it, then I would suggest do something crazy like, I don't know, read.
Yeah, whoa, what's wrong with you?
No. All right, we're going to take you back, put your time machine caps on, and here's today's trivia question, and it's a tough one, I have to admit. What car was first referred to, or first referred to itself,
Okay.
as a convertible? As a convertible. What car in all of history was the first to be seen and noted they used the word convertible? Think about the root word of convertible. And then we're going to put Chris in the driver's seat about this one platform idea when we come back.
Yeah, because I haven't got a clue on this one.
Well, okay, well then when we come back, folks, we'll give the answers. So let's just hang in there and start thinking. Hi, and welcome back to Cars in Context. I'm your host, John Clor. Today we're talking about the one platform, many cars idea with Chris Sawyer from thevirtualdriver.com. Chris, thanks again for coming back.
You're welcome.
You always give us the best stuff. But first, before we get into this topic.
Yeah, I want the answer to this trivia question.
Yeah, the
'cause I
trivia
haven't got a
question,
clue.
if it's been killing you, here's the question. What car first referred to itself as a convertible? And the answer is, it was the 1904 Thomas Flyer. The Thomas Flyer was the first car to use the word convertible when talking about itself. Why? Because it had a removable hardtop.
And you think SUVs are big.
You look at the size of that thing.
Whoa!
Now, those gangster white walls, those are some serious whites.
No, those are just white
Gum-
wheels.
White
tires, I should
white
say.
tire, white gum walls.
Yeah, all the
But
way.
that actually, you could remove that little cubby and you could put a hardtop onto that car, change it from an open air car to a roofed car just by undoing a couple of wing nuts.
Like us.
No, you thought wing nuts were somebody that followed the Red Wings with those little hats.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
that's
sorry.
you.
So that was today's trivia question. We hope you got it right, you know, because if not, you have to watch the next Cars in Contest. We keep giving you a chance. You're not going to.
We know you have things to
sooner or
do.
later. But Chris, now let's get into the topic of the day. I hate to put you in the driver's seat, but that's why you're here. Think about all the car companies. When we made cars, folks, everybody would think, let's do a small car, let's do a big car, let's do a truck. And each car was designed by itself to be standalone. They had their own parts. Everything was unique. And what they found is after you build 10, 15 different models, you got a lot of parts flying around. You got a lot of things that are, everything has to be engineered by itself. It takes huge amounts of people and money and time, effort, and cost to make a company like that.
And you're doing work all over again.
Right,
And
so
again,
now,
and
now
again,
the
and
idea,
again.
Chris, is
You're
now
repeating yourself. I mean, you're repeating yourself. I mean, you're repeating yourself.
over and over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I don't know where I'd ever pick that up. But I can tell you this, that I think this idea now, it's not a new idea. Let's go back to the idea of how do you really make it work? Because people don't want the same car in different sizes.
No.
They want different personalities. So with you build one platform, how can you make many cars from it?
Oh, you want an answer? Okay.
Yeah, that's why
sure.
you're here, Chris.
Well, there's a way to do it. And the best example of this is what VW is doing with their MQB structure, which is the first one out, their first standardized structure. There'll be two others to follow.
Okay.
Because one's for transverse front drive, one's for longitudinal front drive, and the other one's for mid-engine cars.
Makes sense.
That's how you do it. What they did was they said the basic of this is the engine, because it determines the rest of the package.
Okay.
So every engine should have the intake on the same side of the engine and the exhaust on the same side, which if you look in a lot of cars, they don't.
No.
Even within families, they don't. So they said intake's on the front, exhaust is in the rear, even on the diesels. So now they don't have to take all that room up to jostle it around. Now they say it's going to fit in that space. They close it up. They found out that the thing that they really had to watch out for was the dimension from the accelerator pedal to the middle of the front wheel.
Okay.
That was the only thing that had to stay the same. So when they packaged the engine properly, they said, okay, that's set in stone. From the center of the front wheel forward, the wheelbase, from the hip point in the rear seat to the center of the rear wheel, from the center of the rear wheel back, all that could change.
Wow.
Width could change. It didn't matter. The assembly plant said, well, it's the same car, because that one key measurement was the same.
Right.
So then they said, what else can we do? Well, so they standardized all of that. They standardized all of their electronic architecture, much like Volvo did in that news program story. And they said, okay, if we have a common electrical architecture, then we'd have to reinvent the wheel every time.
A new harness for every
We
different
can
car.
we
make
can
one.
have all these extra pieces in it we don't really need to use,
Right.
or we can add them. You can plug and play, as you will, and then we know that it goes from here to there and it's the same every time.
Wow.
So then it cuts down all your variation there. The Other thing that they found out was when they were packaging all of that stuff was that, well, now the car got smaller on the outside. If they wanted to keep the package size the same, they could actually make a smaller car. Well, the public actually looks at that a little funny and says, well, the car's got smaller, so it must be smaller. I don't want a smaller car.
No,
so if they keep
it
it the same size or even a slight bit bigger, now you've got a huge package on the inside, and you say, huh, we've got an advantage over everybody else. So that works out really well. But because you've standardized all of that, and let's use VW's example again, everything from the Polo all the way up to the Passat can be built on the same line. So you could have a Polo, a Passat, a Golf, all of that, one right after the other.
Wow.
That really makes it easy.
Yeah.
Every plant is the same. Every process is the same.
Tooling.
So no matter where you go in the world, that thing is all going down the line the same way.
Wow.
Then you standardize the infotainment system, and you say we're going to have a 5-inch screen or an 8-inch screen. And that's the only thing that's common between them. So then you go, huh, well, if I put that one that's in the really expensive car and I put it into the mid-size car as well, now my price drops an awful lot.
Right.
So now I can offer upscale technology at a mid-scale price.
You get economies of scale.
And you go, huh, that doesn't cost me as much money.
This is genius.
But there's a problem with this.
Okay.
All of these good things, and they're really, really good. I mean, VW is saying we can save 19 billion euro by doing this.
With a B.
With a B.
Wow.
Now, you have to create a common build process and follow it. The industry was not always good at that, but they've gotten a lot better. Every plant has to be overhauled to some extent while you're doing this.
Sure.
That takes some time and money.
Yeah.
The first car to use this system actually costs more to produce than the outgoing car because it's taking all of the cost of all of this on board.
Yeah.
So it depends on how your guys inside the company and the finance department apportion costs.
Yeah, those bean counters are good at that stuff. The bean
But
counters, they're good.
as more vehicles come into the fold, the price drops, but you still haven't realized the full cost until you get them all on there.
Wow.
And then you just watch the cost drop to the bottom, and you're minting money at that point. And on top of it, every time that the economy slows down, you've got a bigger buffer. But there's even a bigger advantage than that.
Okay.
Now look at all those cars that they keep showing us, the concept cars, and they say, oh, we'd love to do this, but we can't afford to do it.
Too much money.
Now they can.
Because
In a lot of cases, that amount of money that they have to put in to do that vehicle is not as high as it was before.
Because you got
So
all the
now it
underpinnings.
says, oh, you know what? That's really close to becoming a car that we can afford
I'll
to
be
do.
darned.
So we're going to see a lot of changes coming on that.
Well, Chris, let's go back, folks. This really isn't new. I mean, when you think about, go back in U.S. automotive history and see that platforms had been shared many years. Buicks and Oldsmobiles and Ford and Mercury shared platforms. Sometimes they
Well, all they did was they changed the badge on it.
well, okay, badge engineering. Let's not talk about that. That's not a good thing. But you know, when you buy a certain brand, you expect it to look a different way, even though they shared sometimes platforms and sometimes just components. It's really, and in fact, when Mullally came to Ford, he was appalled at how many different radios there were, how many different brake systems, how many different powertrains. Why do we have 5 V6s? And can't we just have 2? And you know, that kind of airplane building mentality went into the company.
Well,
and,
absolutely.
You know, so car companies can
And we've seen this before in other ways. I mean, Subaru, years ago, I noticed that they went to one steering wheel. They had had 3 or 4 for all of their different models. Right. And they suddenly went, wait a minute, this is stupid. So they built the one steering wheel for the top line car and said, okay, we're going to put this all the way through the line. And they saw cost drop.
Well, you know, it's a great idea. Here's the thing I worry about, Chris. It's that
But not everybody does this.
Not everybody does, but are we going to lose the personalities of these brands? I don't want brands to like all the cars look the same. You're just longer and
no.
Okay.
No.
Top hats?
Because no, the top hat is where you could really lose the personality.
Yeah.
And the top hat is, here's the platform, here's where the wheels and all the oily bits are.
Right.
And we put a different top on top of it. And you can tune the chassis differently, the springs, the shocks, and all of that, but it's really not that terribly different in some ways.
Yeah.
This, you can put all these different things, and you can design different things for different cars. The thing that people have not picked up yet about what VW is doing is they've got Audi, they've got Bentley, they've got all those guys. And the MQB is also pulling parts from the other ones as well, so they can say, oh, I like that rear suspension on that car, slot it in place. I like this on that car, slot it in place. Oh, we like what you did there, slot it in place.
Wow.
There's an awful lot that they can do with this, and it's costing them a tremendous amount of money right now. But when this thing gets all said and done, watch out.
Well, it's an investment in their ability to get cars quickly to market for different parts of the world. You know, and here in the United States, we have a different need for our cars. Our cars aren't been known to be particularly great handling cars because we go long distances. We have big, big long interstate highways. In Europe, they have these tiny little roads that are more akin to handling. But a platform that can take all the best things of every car and work them into one low-cost, to produce platform, and you can easily change it, update it, redesign it. I think that's, I mean, it could be, as we get more competitive and more people are joining the automotive fray, this might be the wave of the future.
Oh yeah, it very much is. I mean, Aston Martin does it already with the variable vehicle architecture they got from Lotus. We call it the VH. It's vertical and horizontal, and you can change it in those two dimensions as much as you want, within reason, of course. You can make a bus out of it. But but
oh God, don't say that.
Aston Martin bus, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that you can make it taller, you can make it longer, you can make it wider. And all of that is from the same set of pieces.
Yeah,
and it's pretty neat.
That's the beauty of it, folks. This is kind of a we're giving you like an inside look at the future, how the industry is going to be able to stay profitable and keep those interesting cars and vehicles coming at us for all the different roads of the world. And Chris, I really appreciate that insight. But you know what? Now I think we should show people some of the different roads of the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's time for Pick of the Week.
Okay.
And folks, if you know about this segment, we bring a picture out and we show you a picture that we think is interesting. And every once in a while, I'll even drag out a video for the Pick of the Week and show a video we think is interesting. And I think this time, this was sent to me. I thought it was very interesting. It kind of actually, I don't know if I'd say interesting or scary. So this week's Pick of the Week is a video which we have to show you for you to believe. So I hope you enjoy this. This, Chris, is crazy.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Is he still? He must still be on the road, but there's not much road there.
This is a road along the Kitchwar Kailash region up in the Indian Himalayas in India, in the mountains. And folks, if you think the roads...
That's a long way down.
Don't look down. That's the #1 rule. Never look down. But this guy actually has to go out and make sure that the top of his vehicle doesn't hit that overhang. Because what if you hit that at speed? You could flip your... Look at that. Don't look. Are you looking down, Chris?
Oh, that's a river down there.
Was it a river or a road? It
That was
like
a river.
Oh.
That's a river.
Yeah, folks, if you went off the edge here at the Kishtwar Kailash region road up there on the Himalayas, they wouldn't find you for a while.
No, if ever.
If ever? Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you can see, folks, as we're inching
Wait a
along...
minute.
Yeah,
Did I catch sight of a waterfall?
There were actually, if you look this up, you're right, on YouTube, they will follow this road along, Chris. Look, he's actually running ahead to make sure.
That's the only way I would be on that road.
You wouldn't take a car?
Heck no.
What?
I wouldn't take a bicycle on that road.
You don't trust yourself? I don't like walking near the edge like that. Yeah, they will actually have to drive. See, that's coming out of the Himalayas. And yeah, he goes, let me in.
Let me back in.
Because these are going to get soaking wet. They're going to have to actually drive underwater. So if you thought driving on the roads in Michigan were bad and we had bad roads, I mean, it could be worse. You could be in the...
At least they're wide.
That's true. It could be in the Indian Himalayas. And
no, thank you.
that was a Pick of the Week. That was a video of the week. If you have an idea for a Pick of the Week or a video even, you can send it to me, Clor at carsincontext.com, and I'll be sure to put it on the air unless it's just totally crazy. Like that was. But speaking of totally crazy things, this is one of my favorite segments. This was called Pride in My Ride. Now this is where you, the viewer, send me a picture of your car, truck, vehicle, whatever, and you tell me why you have pride in your ride. So this week, Chris, we have got a vehicle from someone it's very famous, a very famous automotive icon.
Lady Gaga? Automotive icon.
Yeah, no, this guy doesn't wear a meat dress.
Oh,
yeah,
good,
yeah,
thank God.
This is the 2014 Ford Focus Sports prototype that was built by the staff of Lee Holman,
Holman and Moody.
Holman and Moody
Yeah.
in Charlotte, North Carolina. Lee said hello to me, rolled this car up. It was out at the Ford Nationals. He showed me he's working on a Ford Focus that, listen to this, in this car you can get underneath it and adjust the suspension at all four corners. No matter, hard, high, low, inside, outside, if you drag it, if you autocross it, it's a fully adjustable suspension in a Ford Focus. Holman and Moody was always about racing.
That's
and
cool.
How cool. Lee, thank you so much. You're just a lot of fun. I love to see that. If you have a pick for me, send it to me, Clor at carsincontext.com. Tell me why you have pride in your ride. like he has pride in this Focus. He wants to build this car. You know, dangle it in front of Ford and see if they'll give him a couple.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Send it to me, J. Clor, Cars and Context, and we'll put it on the air. But listen, there's even better stuff.
Yes, we have to get Lauren up here with the letters.
Right, this is the time where we have viewer mail where Lauren Parrott of WMTV, who's got her own show, actually digs through the mailbag. Lauren, did you dig through the mailbag again?
I did.
Well, you came up with something? You found 2 left. Oh, thank you, Lauren.
It took me a long time to go through that.
No
mailbag.
paper cuts, I hope. Thank God Lauren does this for us, Diggs. And thank you for sending in your letters. We really appreciate it. Chris, why don't you take the first letter and see what they say out there?
Okay, this one comes to us from Alan M. of Grosse Pointe Shores, who watches Cars in Context on Comcast Cable Channel 915, which is HD. Dear Cars in Context, I'm wondering if Chris Sawyer
That's you, yeah. Hey.
has ever explored the relationship between Tesla and Morgan Stanley.
What?
Does the virtual driver smell something funny between the two? I find it odd that the day after Morgan Stanley more than doubled its stock price for Tesla, the EV maker announced it would issue bonds to fund its battery gigafactory, and the key underwriter for that effort just so happens to be Morgan Stanley.
Wait a second, Chris. Is that true?
Must be, I read it right here.
Alan,
Well, I don't have anything in particular on it, but it does sort of
Smell
sound a
like-
little funny, doesn't it? And one of my colleagues said to me recently, he said, I don't think Tesla is as successful as we think because they haven't made enough money to pay for the next car. Where's that money coming from? Is Elon Musk going to continue to do this until hell freezes over?
well, let's watch where the money, you know,
But
what have we always said on the show? Follow the money.
Exactly.
Follow the
and
money.
he wants to build these batteries, and he wants to build them for other people.
So if Wall Street's in bed with Tesla, would it surprise me?
No.
No. Well, thanks for throwing that in. That was a really good question, Alan. I got a question.
Okay.
Now, this one is kind of interesting. It comes from Maggie G. of Harper Woods, who watches Cars and Context on AT&T Uverse, which is Channel 99.
That's where I watch it.
And oh, Maggie, wasn't that a great song?
Yeah, Maggie May, yeah.
Yeah, Maggie G. Maggie says, Dear John, I just saw where a nail care company, OPI, has come out, I don't know,
I
has
did a
come out
story on
with
that,
a
too.
new, oh, you did?
Yeah.
With a new nail polish that you can buy to match the paint on your favorite Mustang. Did you see some of the names of the 6 different shades of lacquers that Ford approved in the deal? She says one is, quote, girls love ponies, and another is, quote, angel with a lead foot. Hey, I know some of those angels. Do you think that car companies should market to girls like this?
Well, they should market to women, but
Yeah.
not necessarily like this.
I think, well, Lauren's giving us a thumbs up. Yeah, she thinks
Well, she
it's
probably
cool.
wears the nail polish.
She's got nail polish.
You're tired of being ignored, are you, Lauren?
I don't have
I chew my
I,
fingernails.
you know,
looking
I
at
don't, Chris, it doesn't bother me.
them. No, it doesn't bother me
I
at all.
mean,
but
girls,
it's-
if you like that, I mean, I saw girls that have little logos and smiley faces on there. I mean, it's all part of it's marketing. You know?
And we know what we think of marketing.
It's kind of like what we think of Wall Street and the banks and and the government. But no, listen. Thanks very much for that question. If you have a question for me, send it to me. J. Clor, Cars and Context. We'll be putting it on the air, Chris. We're out of time.
Oh man, that was
Thanks
fast.
I know. Thanks for coming by. We really appreciate you watching. Remember that knowledge is power. I'm your host, John Clor. Thanks for watching.